90 days may not sound like a long time, but when you're trying to build passive income from scratch, it can feel like an entire financial journey. What started as an experiment quickly turned into a real test of consistency, patience, and expectations. Along the way, there were wins that provided motivation, setbacks that exposed weaknesses, and plenty of lessons that no online guide ever mentioned. Today, we will talk about 90-day passive income challenge final results and biggest mistakes, so before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, also subscribe to my channel. 10. Most people think 90 days is enough to figure it out when people start a passive income challenge, especially something like a 90-day experiment. They often expect clarity to arrive quickly. The assumption is that within 3 months, they will either crack the code or realize it doesn't work. But that mindset is one of the biggest misconceptions in online business, because 90 days is not enough time to fully build a system that replaces income. It is enough time to build fragments of a system, pieces that may or may not work together yet. What I learned during this challenge is that success rarely appears as a finished product within a short timeline. Instead, it shows up as scattered signals. A few clicks here, a small sale there, a piece of content that performs unexpectedly well, an audience segment that responds more than others. At first, these signals feel random, but over time, patterns start forming. And those patterns are where real opportunities begin. 9. The early stage felt like moving without direction. The first phase of the challenge was uncomfortable, because nothing felt stable. One day a piece of content would perform well, the next day it would do nothing. One product idea would seem promising. Another would completely fail. It felt like constant guessing. This is where many people quit, because uncertainty is mentally exhausting. But what I didn't realize at the time is that uncertainty is not a sign of failure. It is a normal part of building something from scratch. In the beginning, you don't have data, so you rely on experiments. And experiments always feel chaotic before they start producing clarity. 8. The turning point was not a strategy, it was repetition. There was no single breakthrough moment where everything suddenly worked. Instead, the turning point came from repetition. Posting consistently, updating products, testing small changes, observing results, repeating what worked slightly more often. This repetition slowly turned confusion into structure. What once felt random began to show patterns. Certain types of content started getting more attention. Certain topics started generating more interest. Certain formats started leading to clicks and engagement. It wasn't dramatic, but it was real progress. And in passive income systems, real progress is almost always gradual rather than explosive. 7. Small income felt more important than large expectations. One interesting shift during the challenge was psychological. At the beginning, expectations were high. The goal was passive income, maybe even meaningful monthly earnings. But over time, expectations naturally adjusted to reality, and something unexpected happened. Even small amounts of income started feeling significant. Not because of the money itself, but because of what it represented. Each small sale or affiliate commission meant the system works. Someone found value. Something is functioning correctly. That validation became more motivating than the actual revenue numbers. It changed the focus from how much can I make to what is actually working. 6. The biggest realization. Most work happens before results appear. One of the clearest lessons from the 90 days was that most of the effort does not immediately translate into visible results. You create content that gets no views. You build products that get no sales. You try ideas that don't work. And at first, it feels like nothing is happening. But behind the scenes, something important is being built. Data, experience, understanding, skill, and system awareness. By the time results start appearing, most of the foundational work has already been done in silence. This is why many beginners underestimate the process. They only judge what is visible, not what is being accumulated behind the scenes. 5. Biggest mistake. 4. Ignoring long-term compounding. One of the most expensive mistakes during the challenge was focusing too much on immediate outcomes. Instead of thinking in terms of systems that grow over time, there was too much focus on short-term validation. But passive income is not built on immediate performance. It is built on compounding. Content that keeps getting views over time. Products that keep selling months later. Audiences that keep growing slowly. Skills that keep improving with repetition. Once this was understood, the approach shifted. Instead of asking, "Did this work today?" the better question became, "Will this still work in 6 months?" 4. Biggest mistake, #5. Underestimating distribution channels. Another major mistake was assuming that building good products would naturally lead to sales. But products do not distribute themselves. They need channels. Content platforms. Search traffic. Social media. Communities, email lists. Without distribution, even strong products remain invisible. This realization changed the entire direction of the system. The focus shifted from building isolated assets to building connected systems where each piece feeds into another. Content brings traffic. Traffic discovers products. Products generate income. Income funds more content. That cycle is where real passive income begins to form. 3. What actually started working after 90 days? By the end of the challenge, it became clear that a few things were beginning to work. Content was slowly gaining consistent views. A few products were generating repeat interest. Small affiliate earnings were becoming more predictable. Some traffic sources were more reliable than others. Nothing was massive. But stability was starting to appear. And stability is often more important than spikes. Because spikes are unpredictable. Stability can be scaled. 2. The real shift, from experiment to system thinking. The biggest transformation during the 90 days was not financial. It was mental. At the beginning, everything felt like an experiment. Random tests, uncertain outcomes, disconnected actions. By the end, it started feeling like a system, a structure where each action had a purpose. Each piece of content contributed to visibility. Each product contributed to monetization. Each improvement contributed to efficiency. This shift from experimenting to system building is what separates beginners from long-term builders. 1. The final truth. 90 days doesn't create freedom, but it can create direction after completing the challenge. The most important realization was simple. Because the truth is simple. 90 days is not enough to build full financial freedom, but it is enough to build clarity about how it can eventually be built. The challenge didn't produce life-changing income, but it produced something arguably more valuable. Direction. It showed what to continue, what to stop, what to improve, and what to ignore. And once that clarity exists, future progress becomes far more efficient, because instead of guessing, you start optimizing. Instead of experimenting blindly, you start building intentionally. And instead of chasing results, you begin constructing systems that are designed to produce results over time. That is the real outcome of the 90-day challenge. Not instant success, but a clearer path toward it. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.